Welcome to the Field of 68 Best Bets show presented by BetRivers. We are Three-Man Weave. We are here to talk to you about college basketball and the Thursday slate of college basketball games. Betting. It's fantastic. We love it, Jim, don't we? Hey, takeaways from yesterday? What'd you see out there?
I saw that Drew Pember is an absolute mega monster.
He is.
Had
My boy.
48, 12, 2,
My
and
boy.
2 blocks, 8 of 10 from 3.
Wow.
Giant win for Asheville in overtime. Actually, the third 45-point game in the past week. Shout out to Trenton Massner of Western Illinois and Matt's boy Marcus Sahonis. Had a big one for the Beach. Also, I think that was in triple overtime, but it counts. It still counts. So some big mid-major scoring explosions. Matthias caught my eye.
Kai, I'll go a little off the beaten path. They're talking about Dayton. The rumors about a resurgence were overblown. And I think I started those rumors. Maybe I didn't. Whether I started with or I hopped on the bandwagon, that bandwagon has crashed and burned. They just lost at Rhode Island last night. Rhode Island was up most of that game. George Washington lost there just before, crumbling at home against VCU before a semi-impressive and not really win against Davidson. Like maybe the Flyers just are too far behind the eight ball at this point in the season with all the injuries they've had to like ever touch or scrape the surface of the ceiling that we thought they had. That bums me out. That bums me out. I like that team.
I don't really have an answer for that one, Matt, because Dayton, covered 7 straight games, and then they have not covered 4 straight. It's like getting Malachi Smith back was a bad thing.
It disrupted. They had figured out somewhat what they were, and now they're kind of back to like, all right, who's pecking order? Mongolian Mike gets benched really quickly now because we got to give Smith minutes. It's weird. Hard to figure them out.
Indeed. My takeaway, I'm putting Texas Tech in the graveyard. Yikes, Red Raiders. I know they're missing AMAC. I didn't care. I still thought they could cover that game. I wonder if there are any Tech fans out there calling for Mark Adams to be fired. He's not the best guy. He's not the best guy off the court. His team is struggling. Maybe it's time to move on from Mark Adams. I don't know.
Wow, really? That quickly? Okay.
If he was a better person, I would say no. But what I've heard, I just dislike.
No, so that's all fair. That's fair.
Also, UConn lost again, by the way. They're 5-6 in the Big East, but they're 6th in KenPom and 7th in the net. Go figure that one. They'd be favored against almost every single team in the country on neutral.
And I bet against them in a lot of those scenarios because they're not that good anymore.
I know. Yeah. Xavier rocks, by the way. Love Xavier. Those uniforms, interesting. They looked like Pitt last night. Very interesting. I liked them. Yeah, I like that color scheme. All right, let's move on. Arizona at Washington State leads off the show. A little Pac-12 battle here. Matt, Arizona's firing right now and no doubt has revenge on its mind after Wazoo beat them in Tucson. What do you think about this one? I think it's a 5-point spread. Arizona's laying 5 on the road.
It's a great
on the road. Sorry.
On the road. Yeah, they got beat at home at McHale by Washington State. So you kind of like the spot there from that angle for Arizona. But I do think there's something real in Washington State's DNA that is a good matchup against Arizona. Like they have real size up front. Mogi is like fully back now. He's a force, like one of the few guys that can somewhat neutralize Ballo. Tubelis is kind of a tough cover for anyone, but again, they have length. And they're with Bamba back, like their guards still don't excite me, Jim, but there's a little more, it's starting to come together to some degree. I just like Bamba when he's in there. He puts Powell in the right spot. He puts Mullins in the right spot. And I look at this Washington State team and I see the team I loved preseason. And again, with the matchup against Arizona, I do like that, but not going to bet the Wazoo with this spot in favor of Zona.
Yeah, the revenge thing's solid. The spot is a little tougher for Arizona. Like they just had 2 like awesome.
It just be UCLA too, yeah,
and dominated USC. Like that was kind of rising back up to where we thought they could be. I'm curious if Washington State controls the tempo big time here. UCLA was able to do that against Arizona, forced them to a really half-court game. Kind of impressive that the Wildcats were able to beat UCLA at that game. And Wazoo did that in Tucson, 65 possession game. Those are the only 2 games below 60 or below 70 that Arizona's played since like the start of December. So it's tough to do. It's tough to slow that team down. Not a lot historically between these two because Lloyd is new, but they should be very familiar with each other from time in the WCC. I think that kind of usually helps the underdog, the familiarity. It can kind of make the game a little bit slower. And look what Washington State did in the first meeting. But yeah, I think Arizona's kind of rising back up a little bit here. They had a very cold shooting stretch. I buy that they're actually a good shooting team. So not going to get in the way right now.
Yeah, cold indeed. They were 4 for 25 from deep in game one against Wazoo. Wazoo was 12 for 28. A bit of an anomaly there, but the spot is kind of confusing, challenging here because Wazoo was off that mountain trip. They were 0-2 in that game. We know Bomba's missed a few games in and out of the lineup, certainly have affected their ratings for sure. But I think Arizona kind of outclasses Wazoo in talent, and they have been much better. Like I said, in the last couple of contests, 4.5, 5 seems like the right number. I probably have a slight lean towards the Wildcats. Next game here, Purdue at Michigan in a Big Ten tilt. Jim, for me, you got to know the status of Jett Howard. If he's in, I would play Michigan. Michigan's 9-0-1 against the spread in their last 10 games against Purdue. I'll say that again. They have not lost a single game against the spread in their last 10 to Purdue. That is wild. Purdue hasn't won in the Chrysler Center since 2018. Who do you like in this game?
I'm with you, Kai. If Jett's in there, +5 for Michigan. Yep, give me that. I'm all over it. Howard and Martelli, like you said, they're 5-0 against Painter. The further back goes with Mr. Beeline, but I think that matters a little bit. They've been able to game plan against one of the best coaches in the league consistently. They're actually 4-1 straight up too. The Martelli Howard combination. But Matt, does Michigan have enough firepower if Howard is out? That's where I get a little bit hesitant. So I can't fully recommend it right now without knowing for sure what his status is. I think it's pretty dicey, like true 50-50 type stuff. So I'm just going to wait and see.
Here's how I handicap this. I'm probably just being stubborn here. Obviously Howard matters. The on-off stuff doesn't portray him as like some world beater X factor, but I do think he's very important for a team that generally isn't that deep with offensive firepower. Like they really rely on Dickinson to open up everything on offense. And they will, especially if he's out tonight. But I still like it without Howard in there. I basically put him at like a 20% chance of playing. If he does, I think you're getting a little bonus value clearly, but I still have this closer to 3 without him, Mr. McKeon. Just think it plays like a very ugly, low scoring, traditional Big Ten type game. Michigan's defense, I think, is the underrated part of this handicap. I think they can match up well with Purdue. I like backing the younger backcourt at home. You know, Purdue's guards are young, so are Michigan's. I like the home team in the better spot. Just seems like an ultimate get up to the number one team here. Great performance, gritty, even without Howard Kai. It's actually my best bet, Michigan +5. So taking the Wolverines. Yep, I'm going to ride that head-to-head dominance trend.
Yeah, like I said, if Howard's in, I'm taking it too. I think 5's way too much, but I kind of think he's going to be out. Hoop Explorer, he's Michigan is 108.9 points per 100 possessions when he's on the floor, 101.3 when he's off on offense. So a lot better on offense when he's on. However, defensively, they're a lot better when he's off the floor. Now, the sample size is pretty small. He plays a lot of minutes here. But when the net difference is only 2 points per 100 possessions, that makes me think a little bit. Dickinson versus Edey is going to be awesome. I'm excited to watch that battle, that bout here. Again, I need to see Howard in the lineup, but I root for Matt in his best bet. UCLA at USC. We're flip-flopping Pac-12 Big Ten. I know what I did on the outline. I know. I should have just kept it in order that makes sense, but I went back and forth. USC usually plays UCLA pretty close, Matt. Last game, 2-point game. Last year, 3-point and 7-point game. Do you think they play the Bruins close once again? They are dogs by, I think, 5 points right now at home to UCLA, 4.5 at BetRivers.
Yeah, similar to the narrative I just spewed with Washington State, Arizona, I think there's something real to the USC, UCLA head-to-head. Well, I guess just more recently, just look at last game. USC gets down big, but they rally all the way back, almost stun UCLA in Pauley Pavilion. Their length and size is very real. There's no Mobley this year. There's no, they don't have like a prototype 5-star interior fulcrum, but they are still super long all across the board. They defend well. Like they're getting better play from their guards. All that said, Jim, I think it's a great spot to back UCLA. I'm not going to give USC much credit for home here at all. I think they're sort of alerted by the fact that they almost gave that away last time. It's the right spot to take a short road favorite, and I'm still a UCLA guy. I think you're getting a cheap price to back them.
Yeah, UCLA off a loss, like that too. I think that's solid. You mentioned Kai USC against UCLA. Enfield 5-3 against the spread against Cronin. Okay, not much, but covering by an average of 5 a game. He's been really good against the number, just a couple that have been close and not been able to get over the hump. With it being a lower number at home, I almost think that's disadvantageous. With home not meaning much in this rivalry because of the proximity, I kind of like the road team more, especially if you're the dog and getting points there. And I think, yeah, Matt's point about potentially getting UCLA in a better spot matters. And saw someone in the chat ask about the under. I'm really close to taking the under here. UCLA is like king of playing way slower in league play. They've been doing that big time. There's just some shooting regression stuff that kind of spooks me. We could see like a hot shooting game that goes over in an efficiency type thing. So it would be under, if anything, for me, Kai, on total, but I haven't officially bet it.
Word is Ras played the over in this game. Game one played 59 possessions, and the market certainly overreacted to the opening line here. As I forgot who pointed this out, Ryan N pointed out in the chat, the total opened a lot lower than it closed last game. Probably an overreaction, but 59 possessions is no joke. And should we expect the game to play out any differently pace-wise? I don't know. Game one, UCLA got up by 18 points. They were controlling USC. They let off the gas. I think they handled business in this game. I think UCLA takes it. I lean towards the Bruins. Back to the Big Ten we go. I promised we were flip-flopping, and we are indeed. Iowa is at Michigan State. It's now at -2 at BetRivers, Jim, and I'm intrigued by Sparty. I just can't really trust him without Malik Hall. They are 2-1 against the spread without him recently. But that Indiana game was gross, and I just think he's still so important to this team.
Yeah, I think he matters a ton. And so even despite some of those more recent numbers, maybe the line actually has adjusted a little better for him after the first stretch where he was out and they were pretty abysmal against the number. Not much history data between Izzo and Fran. Well, there's 20 matchups, but like they're basically coin flips. Both record and margin indicate it's just close every time. There's nothing to sniff out there, unfortunately. I actually do like the under, though, Matthew. I'm seeing Red also say this is a potential Raz under. I buy it. A lot of stuff I'm looking at also backs that up. 5 of the last 6, I believe, between these two have gone under. They've been really high totals, like 150s every time. So there's going to be points, but I kind of buy that. I think Michigan State slows things down a little bit. This isn't quite the same potent Iowa offense as we've seen in the past where they've had Garza or Keegan Murray to play through. Chris Murray's great, but he's not National Player of the Year, first team All-American quite level. So under, if anything, side, I got nothing on that.
Yeah, I mean, like Michigan State's, I think last 2 real close barn burners. I think that was Michigan at home. I guess Rutgers was a little bit higher scoring, 127. But yeah, I do think this does play like a traditional throwback Big Ten game, a little bit slower than probably what's baked in to the pace, largely because of Iowa. Kind of side, I don't have a hard take here. I think the Malik Hall factor is just huge. So I basically put Michigan State on my no bet list until Malik Hall back and consistently effective. I just don't know what to make of them until he's back.
Yeah, I pretty much agree with that. The home floor is really strong, and as the chat points out very astutely, I do think the guards can have a field day with Iowa's defense, which is the second worst in the Big Ten. They just don't really guard. They're porous, but I'm not sure Michigan State really stops Iowa either. I'm not sure they have a matchup for Chris Murray. Brabracha is a tough matchup, even though I do think Sissoko is a pretty good defender in his own right. Patrick McCaffrey might be back. He was supposed to be back last game. I wouldn't be surprised if he played. However, Iowa's 4-1 without him. They might not even need him. I lean Sparty at home, but again, I'm wary without Hall, so probably staying away. I got Jimmer as my chat mob guy today. My chat czar. Jim, what do we got?
A team that came up on our internal discussions here right before we went live, Kai, South Dakota State. Well, a couple people asking about them. -1 on the road at St. Thomas. They've taken a little bit of money as a road team here. They've been much better of late, but St. Thomas absolutely kicks butt at home.
Yep.
So I'm not really looking to get in the way of the Tommies in this one.
It's very frustrating, this Jack Bunny's team, Jim, this season. Every single one of their lines I would have smashed in the preseason. I thought this team was going to be really, really good, like they usually are. Injuries have really affected them. Easley and Apple being out most of the year has sucked the life out of them. And it's a shame that I don't feel confident in a pick 'em basically against St. Thomas of all teams. So I'm staying away, Jim. I'm staying away.
All right, Matt, from Ryan A. SIU Edwardsville, -2 at Tennessee Tech. Another instance of a road team taking a little bit of money, getting betting up to a favorite here. We do love the Cougars. I think the money's probably moving it the right way here. I'm not a huge buyer on Tennessee Tech. What about you?
No, Tennessee Tech has been a team that I've felt like has more talent than their performance indicates. I just don't think that well coached. And a good spot to back SIUE, who we love off 2 straight losses against good teams in good spots. So I think you actually get a subtle buy low here on our Cougars, Kai.
Another
Our
one,
Cougars.
multiple questions asked about a big one in the Big South. Longwood at Radford. A little surprising to see Radford -1.5, -2 at home here.
Yeah.
Kai, what do you think?
Radford's been really good this year. Really good. Been impressed by them. Certainly have lost games fading them. But man, you don't see Longwood as a dog in the Big South very often. It might be the only time you're going to get them as a dog unless they play at Asheville later on this year. I kind of lean towards Longwood. But again, I've been terrible fading Radford this year. I'm not going to do it.
Yeah, Radford's legitimate. A couple from the ASUN. Matt, you'll get the first one. Stetson at Liberty. Liberty laying 14 at home. Stetson's been a dynamo offensively. We talked about this on our Action Network pod. Also, do you have a take? Some people ask about if there could be an efficiency-based over in this one, which I kind of buy.
I kind of like Stetson. Like, I know it's been a fool's errand fading Liberty in conference play. I just think they're at the absolute apex of their price. I mean, they're top 60, flirting with top 50. I don't think this team's that good. Stetson can shoot, soften up the pack line a little bit. I mean, getting stops is always a chore for that team, but I think they compete here, right? I think it's a big number. Too big.
Does seem a little high.
It's really high. I would have taken it, but I don't want to fade Liberty in conference play.
Kai, speaking of ASUN conference play, Eastern Kentucky -2 at Bellarmine. The young EKU talent seems like it's really sort of coming together right now. We're seeing them rise up the standings a little bit here.
Yep.
We love Bellarmine, but a little bit short-handed. What do you think of this one?
I love EKU. I've been on them several games in a row. They did not cover last game, I believe, but I think they get it done tonight. I'm on EKU. Finding information on players for Bellarmine is impossible, but Peter Suter missed last game. He's really important for this team. Davenport complimented him endlessly in the summer, and he's been one of their main ball handlers. He's one of their best passers as well, kind of a leader. He was out last game. If he's out again, I love EKU. If he's in, I like EKU at -2.
There it is. Southland game from the Paris. I'll take this one. Houston Christian at Northwestern State. Northwestern State's very talented. Seems like they kind of wax and wane in terms of focus, though. And Houston Christian's weirdly kind of feisty this season. I think they hang around a little bit. Likely high scoring because Houston Christian's defense is a true layup line, but they've found a way to score consistently. I think they can keep it inside 12. Matt, to you for Fairfield at Mount St. Mary's. A couple of questions about this. I saw someone say total higher than 120 for Mount St. Mary's. Smash that under. Maybe, but Malik Jefferson missed last game, their main big man, which tilts them a little bit towards over, and a lot of their ugly unders have been without Benjamin, without Thomas, some of their key scorers, and those guys are back. So what do you think of this game?
Yeah, I kind of want to fade Fairfield off the Siena win, to be honest. But Mount St. Mary's just isn't quite healthy enough for me. Even with they're down 2 starters, right? They're down Jefferson. I thought one more as well. I like this team. It hasn't been a full team though in a while, so I'm just not going to rush and lay money until those guys are back.
All right,
I think
Kai,
it's just Jefferson, but yeah.
Just Jefferson. Okay,
Yeah.
I thought there was one more out.
Kai, first tip of the day is Appalachian State hosting Georgia State.
Yep.
App State is 6.5-point home favorite. Georgia State, maddening team to figure out. Have you figured them out?
No, I wanted to bet App State. It opened early at 5 offshore, and naturally that got slammed. I think people assume Dwan Odom is out for Georgia State. If he's out, Georgia State, I don't think has a chance in this game. App State 6.5. Boy, that's high. Man, if Odom was in, I would probably punch back and take Georgia State.
All right, Matt, last one before we go back to the outline. Huge one in the WAC. Your Seattle Redhawks. Road dogs at Sam Houston State. Sam Houston laying 6.5 here in this one. Do you think the Redhawks can stay rolling? They're undefeated in WAC play, I believe. Or did they just drop one? Shoot, I don't know off the top.
Nope, they are undefeated. No, they just beat Southern Utah by 21. Which is kind of why I'm looking to fade him here. I think Sam Houston's the best team in this conference. You're getting the best team motivated coming in, playing the team who's undefeated. I think it's a great spot. Is the number a little bit high? Maybe, but I don't think it's like a bad price. I mean, Sam Houston is, I think they're worthy of laying 6.5 to this team. I don't know. Seattle this good? I'm not quite sure I'd buy it. I would certainly lean Sam Houston.
Could you comp it a little last night to Furman, arguably the best team, hosting the undefeated team?
Yes, I like that angle.
Furman did cover in overtime. It was a dicey one for him, but I do like that incentive angle where somehow
like it's the better team, and you kind of insert an extra motivational, like, oh, we're the underdogs or something. I don't know. Yeah,
you're not winning this. You don't have a chance at winning this conference if you don't win this particular game. So that's kind of the whole
better team with something to prove. That's what it's better team with something to prove. That's the angle. Yep. Boom. Kai, write that down.
Take notes. All right, plenty of questions left in the chat. Grand Canyon, Wilmington, Queens, a lot of games have been asked about. We'll hit them in the second section. Kai, back to you for the outline.
Hey, back to the Pac-12 we go. A lot of Pac-12 games today on Thursday. Colorado at Oregon. Oregon is such an enigma, Matthew. I don't know what to do with this Ducks team. 1 minute they're on top of the world. The next moment they're diving into dumpsters. But the Buffs are also a pretty weird team as well. They're ranked only one spot behind Oregon in KenPom. In game one, they won by 27, despite missing KJ Simpson. The Ducks were 1 for 14 from 3.6 points per possession. Yikes. Who do you like in this game?
I think the Ducks are a great spot bet on the rest of Pac-12 play. Like, it feels like the market sort of jumped the gun on where they're priced. I mean, so KenPom having this 3 rights up to 6.5. Like, this kind of goes back to the God, what was that game we talked about yesterday? Where I just feel like the market went too far too quickly. And yes, I agree with what they're looking at. I think Oregon's the right play here, the right spot, Jim, but I don't think they're good enough to justify laying 6.5. Like, I don't think they still have more work to do to being the kind of finished product that we all thought maybe preseason with all this talent.
Yep, they definitely are trending up. Some actual consistency from them a little bit, which is really the thing we were searching for. We knew they had high ceiling, but they were just kind of up and down a lot. And maybe that had something to do with the personnel absences and not really being close to full strength for a while, which they're much more nearby now. Boyle is 13-10 against Altman against the spread, covering by 3 points a game. So like when he covers, seems like he covers a lot. I mean, that's 23 games. You got a decent sample on that, but it's only 13-10, Kai. It's not some super dominant split where you have to really ride with them. I'm just curious if Colorado's defense is for real. You pointed this out to us, Kai, since January 1st, how ridiculously dominant they've been on that end.
Number one.
I'm hesitant to buy it. I feel like it's more, we're going to see some aggression come, and Oregon's the best offense in the league per KenPom. So stay away from me here. There just wasn't enough strong on either side to back one.
Yeah, Colorado's been the best defense in the country since January 1st. Small per Bart Torvik. Small sample for sure, 6 games. But Oregon's offense, surprisingly, I did not know this, best in the Pac-12 this season. Pac-12's offenses have been pretty bad. Colorado's offense probably can't exploit the Ducks' poor defense, but man, 6.5 points. These teams are probably even right now. Oregon should be better. They're way more talented, but you're telling me Oregon's 3 points better on a neutral? I don't know if I believe that right now. I really don't. I probably lean towards Colorado in this game. Spot favors Oregon. Talent favors Oregon. I don't know. They're a weird team. More Pac-12. Arizona State at Washington. The Sun Devils are laying 2.5 on the road. And Jim, they just failed to get a win hosting the LA schools, even though they led UCLA by about 30 minutes. They're still 6-3 in the Pac-12. They're in earshot of the tournament. You can't lose to Washington here. Do they? Do they pull off the cover?
I'm not super enthused about it. Washington's covered 4 of the last 5 against Arizona State. I don't love ASU as a zone offense. I think they're a fairly ISO heavy, even with their roster tilted a little bit more towards the front court right now. I think there's a lot of Cambridge, both guys trying to get in the lane. Frankie Collins doing the same thing. Would be tougher against a 2-3, and I think it's shown that in historical matchups. So, Matt, I don't have a super strong take on the side, but what has stood out to me, 5 of the last 6 between these two have gone over, and 6 straight Arizona State games have gone over this season. 9 of the last 10. They've been like an over juggernaut after early season. I think some of the data skewed them way, way too good defensively, and we're starting to see that come back up. So I actually like the over, Matthias, even though I'm typically an under guy.
Yeah, I've been bet up to 143, open 139, so it seems like some fellow sharps are picking up what you're putting down. I kind of like Washington. I bet Washington last game against Utah, and I forgot a pretty key component to what they're kind of a young team. They're playing 2 freshmen, pretty major minutes. Like, it's Keon Brooks, the 2 freshmen who are starting to emerge, and a bunch of other like solid transfers, and they were playing really well up until that point. I just think that young team on the road in altitude, mountain trip, it's probably foolish to try and back them then. I still think they're like a good, subtly better than you think type of bet on. And against Arizona State, who I think you can take them out of their rhythm offensively with zone. I kind of like Washington here. I do. I think they cover this at home against the money, Kai. 2.5 now.
Yeah. I do think, in theory, Washington's zone can work against Arizona State because these guards love to shoot. It's kind of like Syracuse, North Carolina. You dare Cambridge, Horn, Collins, Neal to shoot, and boy, will they oblige. Even if it's a poor look, baby, that ball is going up. So if ASU is cold, Washington can absolutely win this game, but their offense has been atrocious on the other end. And Arizona State's defense, man, when it's locked down, it is locked down. They are so athletic. They're so quick. They're going to force turnovers. They're going to dominate the inside. I lean towards ASU -2.5 here, actually. So that's the way I'm heading with this game, fellas. In the WAC, we got a major battle between Utah Valley and Southern Utah. Utah Valley, Matthew, is in sole possession of second place. The Thunderbirds are trying to tie them with a win here. Interestingly, these teams have only played 3 games when the games were lined. Southern Utah is 3-0 straight up. Utah Valley 2-1 against the spread. Who do you like in this one? 1.5 points separate these teams. Southern Utah favored by 1.5 at home.
Yeah, I wrote down Utah Valley last night. I'm still tempted to take him because the money's pushed it toward Southern Utah. They used to play every year non-conference. Now they're same conference. So I think there's a little bit of familiarity here with both teams and at least to travel. It's kind of why I like Utah Valley. Just think they're an awesome team. I know Southern Utah's been terrific as well, but I think Utah Valley is the more complete team. I think they've proven that they're the better team throughout the course of the year, where the Thunderbird shim, it seems like they've just caught thunder in a lightning in a bottle, whatever. You know what I mean?
Like
Recently, thunder in a bottle doesn't really make sense. I guess it's kind of abstract, but you get the idea. I'm going to wait maybe 2 shows, maybe 3 shows, and I might back my Wolverines, the dancing Mark Madsen's on the road.
There you go.
Good
there
dancing.
You go. I kind of like Southern Utah here. I've been too low on them for a lot of the season. I thought they lost too much guard play last season. But Tavion Jones has been so good, it almost hasn't mattered, Kai. I've been really impressed with them. They have burned me a few times. Utah Valley's guards are better than last year too, with Woodbury back, having missed almost the entire season last year. But Bandego, I think that's
Aziz Bandego, yeah, whatever. Yep.
I think that's how they pronounced it when I watched. Has given them a really, really solid AMAC replacement. He dominates the glass just like AMAC did. So it's tough to really anticipate Southern Utah having a lot of success in the paint, but I just like the guard advantage. This strikes me as a game that gets up and down. At Southern Utah, they tend to have frenetic type of transition-y games at home. Lean towards Southern Utah playing a little bit more of their style.
Yeah, Utah Valley's on a tear, man. They're very good. They're very well coached. It's the best Utah Valley team in the KenPom era currently. Better than the Pope teams, better than the AMAC teams. That's very surprising to me, at least from the preseason lens here. And their defense is really good. Southern Utah scores by attacking, getting to the lane. And Utah Valley's got the best conference 2-point percentage field goal defense. Also, they're 7th in the country in field goal percentage allowed at the rim per hoop math. I think that's important. Although Southern Utah probably has the athleticism edge, they're definitely more experienced. They definitely have a strong home court. I think Utah Valley is a better team right now, better coached. 1.5 is a fair line. I'm going to throw my hands up and move on. And we go to our last game on the outline. It is UC Santa Barbara, a.k.a. Santa Babs, at Hawaii. Matt's Bows. Jim, Hawaii is laying just a point. Essentially a pick here. Nobody's talking about Babs, and I'm angry about it. They're 7-1 in the Big West. They're 16-3 overall. They're going to make the dance again. Pashnak has them in the top 100. It's the 4th time in 26 years they've been in the top 100 in KenPom. Heck, they're a good team, Jim. Who do you like tonight?
Yeah, why is it lame to love them, man? They were 135th in KenPom last year, and they replaced their only missing starter with a double-double guy from Cal, like actually good player from Cal.
They're not as likable as my Bows. That's all I'm saying. To take him against my Bows in this spot, I mean, come on, just disrespectful.
I'll take the better team. And historically, Hawaii's home court advantage is not as strong as like you just think, oh, traveling to the islands.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's overplayed generally.
Statistically, KenPom has it as like middling in the country. It's really not that good. I kind of like UCSB here, Matthew. I just think they're better. They're comfortable in a grinded out game that Hawaii is going to try to make it with that St. Mary's-esque system, really slow to a crawl in the half court. And I'll just take the slightly better team. I know that's mean for you to say for me to say about your Bows, but I'm a Gaucho tonight.
I think they have the better team. I think the price is about right. So I didn't take it. I'm just going to root for my Bows, sit back, put my feet up here. It is worth noting though, Hawaii is a pretty good matchup for UCSB. Like they can kind of shut off their interior scoring with Kelly and some of the size they have up front. But I do think UCSB's guards are better. Like I love my guy Coleman and McClanahan, but UCSB just has better guards, more dynamic. And Josh Pierre-Lewis can be like a defensive glove type of guy you can throw on Coleman. Take away Coleman and Hawaii's offense gets really stuck in the mud. It's like exceedingly reliant on execution, just not a lot of dribble dynamism on that roster. So as much as I'm going to root for my Bows, I think there is a sharper angle. You guys are right to the UCSB side here.
Is the total too obvious? Is the under the way to go? It's the top two defenses in the Big West.
I've been seeing some over chatter in the mob. Yep.
They're both, they're tough defense. Hawaii's really good defensively. They're not great offensively. Boy, they're tough to score against inside. They're very athletic. I don't really see Hawaii scoring on the other end either. This Barber team, man, is so talented. Mitchell's probably the best player in the conference. And then Kelly and Norris might be the best front court duo in the conference. They overwhelm. I even mentioned Matt's boy, JPL.
Best player in the conference, JPL.
The team is the most talented team in the Big West. I kind of lean towards the under. I think efficiency is going to be really low. I actually kind of lean towards Hawaii on their home turf. I'll be honest, Matthew. Do your way. It's a 1 point spread. Pick them. But I did not play it. And I like Babs overall.
Interesting matchup thing there, Kai. You mentioned how good Hawaii's interior defense is. They're also the best in the country at running you off the 3-point line. So they like really funnel you to those big guys. But UCSB isn't a 3-point shooting team.
No.
I think they're kind of comfortable just barraging the rim and maybe slightly out-athleting the guys like Hepa and Da Silva inside.
Alrighty, let's go chat mob. Part 2.
All right, back to the WAC. We'll start there. Grand Canyon at Abilene Christian. Right now, the spread is Grand Canyon minus 2.5. Matt, I'm going to you for this one. Abilene's been kind of a bust for me this year. Disappointing. What do you feel here?
This and Utah Valley were the two games I wrote down. I didn't officially bet. I liked Abilene Christian just at the opener. Got bet down to 3. That's all I needed to stay away because a lot of the Abilene underlying stuff is really annoying. They still foul way too much. They're out of, undisciplined defensively, not like as disruptive, and offensively, the guards they have just don't have that same skill and just firepower, I guess, as the guards that they had under Golding and the first year under Tanner. So I don't know. I looked at this ACU team and like, you know what? I may have overreacted to them. I know GCU guys without Blackshear, probably good spot to back ACU, but I passed.
Yeah, ACU's really good teams under Golding also had a 7-footer, like dominating the paint. This one plays Simmons at the 5, and they get gashed at the 2-point percentage.
Hate them this year.
And Pleasant's played a lot more and been better, but they're still a work in progress. I don't like it.
Yep. All right, Kai, Monmouth at UNC Wilmington. A good team hosting a really, really bad one. But in league play, is this number just a little bit too high? Last I saw was 17. It is currently 16 and a half. Yep.
Monmouth's taking money. Hilarious. I have pretty much stopped betting over 15-point favorites. Haven't been good at them. There's a lot of variance that occurs in those type of games. However, I think Wilmington should absolutely smash Monmouth. They've been brutal on the road, and Wilmington can absolutely blow teams out. So I lean their way.
All right, Kai, going right back to you for another ASUN game. Florida Gulf Coast at Queens. Queens has been a bit of a darling. Yeah. Gulf Coast has been really, really bad lately.
Yeah.
Queens laying 2 points. Do we just kind of keep riding a good team against a team that's in horrendous form?
Yeah, I can't really figure out why Gulf Coast has been more either. Last several games in conference play, really, the entire conference play. And Queens is a really well-coached team. They're really experienced, and they shoot the ball really well. So not a team I'm looking to fade right now. I'd probably lean their way or stay off it entirely.
Yeah, our Mateo sometimes has some really sharp midseason. This team's going to win this mid-major conference. See Seattle last year, but we got to razz him for saying Gulf Coast is going to win the ASUN.
What the heck happened? This team's going to be a good bet at some point. This line's insane. I know they've been terrible. I think this line's insane. I didn't bet it because Gulf Coast has been so bad. I can't figure it out, but I think it's an insane line.
Queens is really,
Matt.
Yeah,
I know they're good, but Gulf Coast is too good, Jim.
We're going to stick. We're going to. We'll go to CUSA. A couple CUSA questions here. Charlotte is at Rice. Current spread on that one right now, as I misspelled the word Charlotte.
One pick.
Rice -1 run pick. Two teams that play very differently in terms of tempo, especially. What's your take here?
I don't know. I don't know if we want to back Rice a week after the huge win at North Texas. Feels like a very let down dud type spot here. And Charlotte's kind of a unique type of team to prepare for. I guess you have a week off. That's good, but I still worry about the letdown spot here. So I was wanting to take Rice, but the spots concerned me.
Yeah. Also a fun game. 2 awesome passing big men in that game, both sides.
Yeah.
Sorry. What?
Nope. I had something I don't anymore. Nope.
Oh, where'd it go?
I think Charlotte can shred Rice's defense. That's what my point was going to be.
I don't disagree with that.
I think they're going to crush them like with cuts and stuff. Yeah.
All right, Kai from Ryan N. North Florida, -2.5, -3 or so at Central Arkansas. Another one here in the A-Sun. Are we starting to see a good North Florida team emerge? Is that?
I hope so. They should be good. They should be a contender in this league. They brought back everybody from last year, except one guy who wasn't, frankly, that important. Central Arkansas. Again, another one of these teams you cannot find information on. Cameron Hunter missed last game. He is their best player by a mile. Without him, they're terrible. If he's out again, it's North Florida for sure. I even like them a little bit with him in, though 2.5 is getting a little bit high.
Yeah, Churchill Bounds also out last game, Kai. Absolute critical piece there in that rotation. So got to check on him.
He hasn't played at all.
I'm not sure that's a super relevant one.
They were missing.
I'm mad at Kai because
Cato and Klitman as well.
Yeah, they're kind of a mashing right now. I'm just still mad at Kai because I've trailed them on North Florida a few times and they've just sucked. So I'm just kind of bitter about that.
They don't play defense, unfortunately. They
never play defense.
Yeah.
All right, from Matt Akers, I'm taking this one. Stop me, guys, if you really disagree. But UC Irvine -3 at Fullerton. I am full systems go on Irvine. I love Irvine there.
It's cheap. Yep, I agree. It's cheap. I worry about the.
It was 1, wasn't it? Didn't it open at 1? I was like,
I still think it's cheap.
I think it's cheap. I'm with you.
I was all over Irvine at 1, not 3. Yeah, I can't.
I don't like Irvine without Ben, but still think it's cheap.
Yep.
All right, Matthew from Red R/Ed Redmond, having a nice snow day at home. Shout out to that. Troy at the Cajuns. Cajuns laying 5 against Troy. Scotty Cross is an underdog. I don't really love fading that situation. No,
you could argue cheap, I guess, talent wise, but Troy defies all sort of logic with like personnel based analysis. So I kind of lean Troy, actually. I just feel like it's a team that you can bother with pressury, good defense, Lafayette, and Troy has like the best version of that. So I kind of like Troy just in a gut.
All right. Jay Letterman's got 2 OVC totals, but before we hit that, Kai,
yes,
curious if you have a take on what to do here. Green Bay just fired Will Ryan, and now Matt Brott's asking about Northern Kentucky at Green Bay, side or total. He specifically asked about the total. For me, it's I don't know what Freddie Owens is going to do taking over. He is a former Bo Ryan player, so I would imagine slow swing type stuff, but I just don't know enough to be certain on what Green Bay is going to do.
You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to trust the initial gut of our local chatters here. Taylor in the chat, an NKU guy, he said his team should not be favored by 17 over anybody.
I kind of agree. I think you play the angle that works in college football. You bet the team with the interim head coach. I 100% like that angle. Yes.
Having said that, I did not bet this game.
Yeah.
I didn't either.
I kind of like the under 2. NKU slow zone. It's going to muck the game. It's going to be weird. I doubt they're ready to play a great zone offense. All right. The 2 Jay Letterman OVC overs. Matt, actually one's an under. Lindenwood at UT Martin. Do you like the over 145.5?
I think I do. I'm not quite sure how much UT Martin, is pressing. I've watched them a couple of times. They do press selectively if they press a lot this game, which they should against Lindenwood's ball handling, which isn't that great, to be honest. I think it's probably an up-tempo game, so I can see an over angle there, I guess, as I talk through it.
Actually, I'm an idiot. The other game is not an OVC game, so I apologize. Kai, it's an A-Sun game, which is good for you.
Cool.
Jacksonville at North Alabama, total of 129. It's been bet down pretty hard, but I agree with it. I think Jacksonville is back to throttling teams into their style.
I'm on the under, Jim. I'm on the under.
Ooh, what'd you get it at? I'm curious.
I can't remember.
Okay, probably better than 129, I would imagine.
Yeah, I think it's better than 129. Yeah, they can really muck games up, and UNA plays fast, but I think last year these games played super slow, super slow.
Yeah, Jacksonville's better. Bet Jacksonville. Sorry, it just hit me, Jim. You're right. This line's way too short. This is like, as I feel like we go through the show, one game a day kind of pops out. It's like, oh yeah, that line's way just weird.
They're one of those teams that was really good last year, Matt, like South Dakota State, that has not been playing that great this year, and I just can't,
because they've been injured and now they're getting healthier and then should improve.
Omar Payne missed last game, which they covered.
Oh, that's right. I thought he was back.
They keep having guys in and out of the lineup.
I know all their big guys are in and out. Yeah.
But yeah, Kai, to your point, 61 possessions when they played last year, the one game, really slow.
Yep.
All right, 3 more, and then we have a sneak look ahead question about tomorrow that I think is worth asking because the guy's going to be at the game. All right, Matt from Ray Reyes, Middle Tennessee +9 at Florida Atlantic. Do the Owls keep rolling? They're back home. They're deadly. Middle Tennessee is a no-bet team for me. What do you got?
I like Middle Tennessee. I do. I'm not going to bet it because I don't like to fade FAU, but FAU had that little mini lull before they impressed us with the North Texas sweep and the UTEP game. Some teams caught him at home napping a little bit in the second half, made some runs on him. I think Middle Tennessee is a team that plays hard and they get up for this game. I think they cover 9, but don't fade FAU. Move on. There's better things to invest your money in.
Kai, John Hudak asked about Utah Tech at Tarleton. I believe you brought up Tarleton's home road splits in our chat. Do you happen to remember those or at least directionally what they were?
They are stark. Tarleton is undefeated at home against the spread this year. I think it's like 4-0-1. On the road, it's like 0-7. On the road, it is 2-7 on the road, 4-0 at home.
Sorry.
They're also getting healthier. Freddie Hicks is back. He's playing more minutes. I like Tarleton a lot in this game.
I do too. It makes sense. A team that is hyper reliant on the whistle is better at home.
Yep. And their crowd, they have a good home crowd that probably influences. Completely buy that. Speaking
of whistle, Utah Tech, number 1 in the country in free throw attempt rate. I think Tarleton's number 2. So this game's going to be just foul.
Yeah, don't bet a total unless you want to just be pulling your hair out after a 2 hour and 45-minute game because of whistle after whistle.
Mm-hmm.
And Cam Gooden is back for Utah.
Yeah,
Tech, so
yep. That was a pretty stupid bet for me. New Mexico State comes back and scores 17 in 20 minutes. Hyper efficient.
All right, last one, Matthias from Scott H. We're staying in the Beehive with at least one of these teams. Utah at Oregon State. Your Beavers catching 7.5, catching a touchdown at home here. One last Pac-12 game. What do you got?
Yeah, you could see Oregon State mucking this up, but you can't bet Oregon State for a full 40 minutes. They will eventually crack. Did that against Stanford. They just don't have talent this year. It's young, 3-star caliber talent. They play hard. I think Tingle's a good coach. But I'm not laying them. I'm not taking the points with them here against Utah.
All right, Kai, real quick. SLU at Davidson tomorrow. We've got a chat mob or boots on the ground. Any quick initial just gut thoughts?
SLU.
Where's it at?
At Davidson.
I don't know.
Yeah,
no take.
I like SLU. Davidson's, I don't know what's going on.
We're missing Portland LMU. We have not talked about that game.
Pilots.
I have no opinion.
A lot of questions.
Pilots
as well. The lines
healthier.
They lost by 20 in the first game. Moses Wood was out. He matters quite a bit. I like Portland.
LMU just beat Gonzaga. You think they're going to be hyped for this game? They won't give a flying F about this game. They won't care at all about this game.
Maybe a little bit.
And Ray had a question. Boots on the ground tomorrow. I like New Mexico against the Air Troops. I always love the Air Troops, but they're kind of hurting. Really unimpressive performance at San Jose State, who is down their big man. All right, that's it for Chat Mob. Best bets. I'll lead us off real quick. Omaha UMKC under 133. That's my best bet. Omaha has been a pain for me. They're just a team I keep waiting to have a little bit of defensive 3-point regression. Teams are shooting 43% against them from beyond the arc in league play. I'm almost positive tempo is going to be nice for this, 63 possessions or something. Just got to avoid shooting. Over the weekend, South Dakota, made a bunch of threes. Stubbornly going back to the well. Under 133, Omaha UMKC. Kai, to you.
Love it. I'm doing a total as well. I'm doing the obvious total, the one that everyone has probably been looking at all day and wondering, should I take that over? Yes, I'm going to. San Diego Pepperdine over 161. Game 1 was 78 possessions and 181 points. No reason to think the pace is any different in this game, and no reason to think either team has learned how to play defense. I think both teams are going to score. High tempo game. They're also two of the best over teams in the country. San Diego 15-4 to the over this year with a +11 cover margin. Pepperdine 13-6 +4 cover margin. I like it even at 161. It is 4 points higher than the closer of last game, which usually not a great bet to do that. But I just think it's going to be close to 80 possessions and tons of efficiency. So
yeah, I like the handicap from that angle too, Kai. I think actually there was some money on the under, probably looking at something similar, but I'm with you. The game went to 190 last. I think it's going to go to 190 again tonight. My best bet.
2 slow games in a row. I think they're going to want to run again.
Get out of the shackles. As I said earlier, Michigan +5. I would like Jett Howard to play, of course, but I don't think he is. He's critical to this handicap. It's more about the spot, more about the price, the matchup here. I think it's just a vintage home dog spot. Give me the Wolverines +5 at the Chrysler.
Matt, do you recommend people wait and hope for a better number?
I was just going to say,
Howard?
I think if he is announced out, you might get an extra half point or a point. It seems like people are straddling the market. I'm like,
I bet you get more than a point. he's out.
You get more than a point. I guess my theory is that people are hedging their bets with the current number. Like his potential to miss is already kind of baked in. So I don't think you'll get some like massive swing of the line. I just take 5 now. If he's in, it's definitely going to drop, right? Or do you think it stays at 5?
No,
I think it drops
it'll
for
close
sure.
right at 3 if he's in.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, but I don't think he plays. That's just my gut. That's all I have.
I agree. Hey, hit the like button on the way out if you don't mind, please, for us. Thank you so much. We will be back on Saturday, 10:15 a.m. Central Standard Time to talk about the 148 game slate. That is Saturday.
148 again.
10 games tomorrow, 148 on Saturday. Thanks, scheduling. Makes a lot of sense. All right. Thanks, BetRivers. Thanks, Field 68. We'll see you on Saturday. Good luck with